Hello everyone. Today I bought another big lot of various random stuff from eBay. I paid pretty cheap for this. I may as well tell you how much I paid. I paid 25 bucks for the whole lot, and I'll just show you what's in it. Some of this lot is very basic stuff. You know, old-time freight cars from way back when. And there was a couple of engines in that lot which piqued my interest. Not this one. This is pretty junky actually. This is actually something I'm going to put. Doesn't even say the manufacturer. I'm going to put this in a big lot of junk and resell it on eBay. I put this every once in a while. I'll save up and I'll put them out for a lot like that. I'll pay for 99 cents. I'll do a 99 cents auction, and then whoever wins that wins that. Well, I guess this was a dummy with a light, so I don't know. So I'll just save that and resell that to somebody in a 99-cent lot. And then actually I'm not keeping the locomotive, but I am gonna keep the bubble wrap, and I'll recycle that. I got a wheel that fell off. So yeah, absolutely. When I open this, I always take my time and make sure that I don't have parts falling off, because I can probably reuse these parts to fix what's in there. So I'm guessing one of those freight cars is gonna have a missing wheel. Do you guys like getting random lots like that you can reuse? There's a broken coupler, so that's junk. A coupler pin, I'm sure I can use that. Just focus on this stuff here. Here's a nice micro trains car. So I paid 25 for this whole lot. Here you can tell the wheel is off. So that we'll be fixing that right away. And probably that loose wheel comes over here. So that's actually really good news. So I've got a fully functional micro trains boxcar. So that's gonna be great. I'm starting to think about getting more and more micro trains freight cars. I've got a lot of the old Backmans, and I do like them. So I'm keeping the old Backmans. Oh, there's something wrong with the coupler here. I'm going to take a closer look at that. This coupler seems to be good. This coupler may be broken. I'll just get this off. So it is indeed broken. I suppose you could glue it back together, but I'm going to see if I can find a part that will go in there, because when these work good, they are good. Put down in the comments below whether you think this is worth fixing. As far as I'm concerned, hell yes. This is definitely worth fixing. I've got to pop this open, and we'll take a look at what's inside. You have to be careful because these little springs, they have a tendency to pop out. I've got a box that's full of extra parts for these. So don't want to lose my spring. And this part here is still good. And then this part here, see, I suppose you could glue it back together. But I'm going to see if I've got one. If I've got one, then I'll just switch it out. Very lucky there, I have the correct part. Good news, I managed to put it back together. Wasn't super easy, but I still wanted to get it done. So I have to put that wheel back on. So see, it works super duper. So I got a nice boxcar. So that the regular price for this is about 25 bucks. So let's say because it's used, I got it for 15. That means if I get a couple of more freight cars, that will put my my investment in the right place. This is an old Bachmann chassis systems caboose. I kind of like it. It's a little bit too shiny, but I think it still looks neat. I have to find the missing wheel for it. It's probably in the bottom somewhere. It's one that happens. Don't panic. There'll be extra stuff. This is an old lifelike hopper car. This is alright. So that's in good shape. This one's in good shape. Another starter set caboose, which is okay. I keep these. I might repaint it a different color. So what else I've got here? This is, it looks like a very cheaply made boxcar, but it's still kind of neat. And I've got the truck and the pin for it. Just put the pin. You can see my my technique for putting the trucks back in. So what I do, I put the pin in the hole, and then I'll hold it with my finger and I'll just slide it in like so, and boom. So I've got this nice KD, let's say, or micro trains. That's worth 15 bucks, and the two freight cars are worth 5 bucks each. That means I get the two cabooses for free, and I get this things for free. What do you guys think this is? That is an old, you can tell by the 4 fans, that is an old sea liner from Lifelike. And these are good. I even got part of the coupler hole down. So we'll be fooling around with that mostly today. That is the real score. I see they put a little bit of glue down here. It's not too objectionable. I might actually not do anything. Missing the coupler, but that's okay. I'll find something that works for that. Probably needs a good cleaning, lubricating, and fine tuning. I always do that when I get an engine from eBay. I always put my 2 leads to it just to make sure the motor turns. All this is I have an old power pack and 2 wires leading from it, but I do a lot of diagnostics with this, especially if I have a short circuit. But you see, it's working. Or maybe it would even work on the track. Let's go see. The person that had this before, I don't think they liked it too much. I mean, they didn't take care of it that well. Let's see if it runs. So far, so good. May need a little cleaning though. But these are worth working on because they are good runners. So it needs a really good cleaning. But this is what I'm good at. Probably works better if you put it on the track though. That always helps. That's the first place to check driver error or operator error. But actually runs okay. We're just gonna improve it a little bit. Definitely worth doing. Yeah, that was a good purchase. So I'm gonna find a wheel for this Jesse caboose here, and I'm gonna put all this stuff, all the old freight cars away, and we'll work on the C-liner B unit. So that I know is gonna run well, but running a B unit just by itself, that won't be a lot of fun. So a while back, before I bought this one, I bought this unit. This unit is really messed up, but I think I can work it out. So it too has a couple of parts floating around in there in the baggie. I kept it in its baggie just for that reason. Actually, I've seen worse. This one, it's missing its side frames and the contact strips. Maybe somebody used it for parts. I'm also missing a lot of stuff for the couplers and windows. I don't know if I'm going to spend a lot of time on the windows. I might. It's got its horn, so that's good news. And the shell doesn't look so bad. I mean, these have really good details. Very beautiful. So that too I consider worth fixing. The four of the ladders are missing. That can be good. I've got the little one here at the back. I'll reglue that back together. But yeah, this one is worse. Naturally, it did not do well on the auction, but I am happy to get this and fix it up. So we're gonna have a good set at the end here. At least that's what I'm working towards. Well, all right, let's see about removing the shell. This is just held together with some dimples. It's shouldn't be too hard to remove it, but I want to be careful. I don't want to mess up the shell any further. So let me just work on that a little bit. I can't use the box method because I'm afraid to tear out these ladders. So I found a little place to pry at the end here. Maybe on this side I can find a place to pry, because I don't want to mess it up even more. So that is going to take a little bit of time. No, wait, I'll get it. I ended up pretending that it's a Kato, and I used the toothpicks. So it's on its way out. So at any rate, this is the B unit. And somebody's been playing in there, especially with that coupler box. Doesn't look too good. So I might have to do something about that. However, the drive system is very simple. That should be super easy to deal with. I don't think there's even a fuel tank to deal with. The fuel tank is part of the frame. So that's kind of cool. It adds weight. If you want to DCC them, you have to mill the frame to make room for your decoder. I'm sure it can be done. Just am I gonna do it? I'm not sure. I'm pretty happy running my trains with DC. And although they don't make a C-liner as a model, you know what, as I remove the trucks, I'm just loosening in the two screws. But as I remove the trucks, I'm gonna keep the order, because they were a little bit on the quiet side. These contact strips, if they fall out, that's okay. I just clean them like that with my finger, and that is good. Anyways, that works for me. And then I'm gonna finish removing the screws completely. And this is what we got. I think I still have to have half a turn in the screw. That will happen sometimes. And then you can see the two insulators. You need them, you really need them to run, so I just leave them there. That will be good. And then you have your main drive system. Look at that, uses little cradle O-rings, just like Decado or Atlas. So that's really neat. It seemed to run very good. I'm not making any changes to that. I'll just put 2 drops of oil on the bearings that run the worm gear. That will be excellent for what I need to do. The place where I'm really gonna clean this little strip here. This little strip is pushing the motor out on the other side, so that actually is just funny. It won't create any problems. There's nothing needed in here. It ran great. So most of our time will be spent working on the 2 trucks. Now before I start working on my trucks, actually, I'm gonna glue this little ladder back together. Only takes a minute, but I find that satisfying, so I'll do it. So that, while I'm doing that, it will have plenty of time to dry. So we'll do this first truck. Just have to we just have to make the little this little pin has to go up its little box. And then so this one actually ran pretty good, so I'm not too concerned about that. I will just clean it with some soap. I'll clean the gearbox with some soap and my toothbrush, and the wheels I'll use my rag. That really gets you in there. It wasn't too badly dirty to begin with, so that's good news. I mean, it did run okay. Just getting a little extra lubrication can't hurt. I've got to think of something for the couplers though. The couplers are far from perfect. They're squeaky clean. Sure feels good to have everything squeaky clean like that. I'm gonna re-gauge the wheels. Basically just checking them. So this one should be just a little wider. Now I fine-tuned them. It would have ran great like that. I just like fine-tuning things. I'll only put slack on the side that doesn't have a gear. Oh yeah, that is just perfect. So I'll only put the slack on this side. I find that they run quieter like that. That goes back in. Let's do the other one. Just to be sure. Same thing, it's a little narrow. This this ever happen to you? Parts go flying off? Happens to me all the time. And then these ride on two little pins. Make sure you put the wheels in their bearing where they should be. And then test it with your finger. Bring in the side frames. This is a particular side frame that only this engine has. So I suppose I could repair it with a side frame from an FA1, but it wouldn't look right. And this is a nice model. I find it's worth spending the extra time to make it perfect. Actually is a nice model. I'm gonna enjoy running. So check it with your finger. This is really sweet. Awesome. So I'll do the same thing on the other side. It's pretty tough to get parts these days. You can get parts directly from the manufacturer, but for example, Cado, the parts catalog is being redone, and Atlas, the site works pretty good. For Atlas, I have an eBay seller called So Much Stuff. He's really good. I get exactly what I want. And then the Backman parts store is up and running, so that's not bad. I went on the Walters just to see if I could get some lifelike parts, and I couldn't understand the website. It was pretty tough to navigate on there. At any rate, this thing's coming up nice. I'm gonna wash the shell with some soap and my toothbrush. I washed this A unit shell while I was there. So that A unit is in pretty bad shape. But the B unit is going to be great. So those I have a chance to dry out while I'm working on the rest of the drive. So this drive right here is ready to go back together. Now as you put these back together, wow, this is heavy. So yeah, well, as you put these back together, make sure that the two cradles land exactly in their little spot. So these look like they will, I don't have to put too much effort into it. Looks like they'll just line up right properly. But you know what? I will check it just to be sure. Then I always do that every time I add something. I check it just to make sure there's nothing rubbing. So far, so good. And then I'll start the screws. I won't go in there and tighten them. I just start them. Perfect. So I'll just start them, and then I'll put the contact strips and the trucks back. The reason I start them like that is just so they don't fall out. And then I'll reintroduce the trucks exactly as they were. Oh, I better put the contact strips. That is going to be pretty important in a minute when I try to run it on the track. And check them, make sure they're at the proper place. And then at this point I will tighten the two screws. So this one being the B unit, there's no light. So I'll just tighten the two screws. That way my trucks won't fall out. And then double check that the contact strip is at its proper place. So far so good. And then I will try it on the bench just to be sure. Yeah, these are pretty heavy, so they're good pullers. Sweet. Excellent. So that will be that. Let's go try it on the track. I love to watch the motor turn in the window. These are geared very low. So that's good for switching. Or if you need to start slowly, you can. So that runs super well. Really happy with that. And these are heavy. They're good pullers. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Incidentally, somebody asked me how I clean my track. I use an old plastic eraser like that, and I just run that on the track like that, and that really cleans them well. I don't use any type of fluid. I just like the good clean. Alright, so on to the next thing. Now this is the A unit, and it's got a light. So these are just squished in a little slit in the front. They're not too hard to remove, you just have to take your time. I don't want to pry too hard. I kind of like these. I just started it with my screwdriver. There, make sure we don't lose that. That is a little bit dirty. That piece of tape there, that's just to hide the worm gear. I'll be sure and put that back. But this, other than the missing truck, looks to be in about the same shape as the other one. Because they're geared the same, the speed will match up pretty good. They pretty much all run at the same speed. And we'll remove that. Just like the Cado, the A unit and the B unit is exactly the same frame. I think they designed them from the get-go to be like that. I still want to retain the order that they were in. So these I just clean with my finger. You know, that's what I did for the B unit, and it ran wonderfully. So that seems to be good. This, unfortunately, that's going to go in the parts bin. Lifelike gearbox. I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter which engine you get, the GP38 or the FA1s or these. It's pretty much the same gearbox. So I'm going to clean this front one, clean it and adjust it. Yeah, for the couplers, I should maybe put micro trains, because I have a bunch and I should use them. but why I'm hesitating is perhaps down the road I find another nice set. When they came from the factory, they all had on the A unit a fake knuckle coupler, which looks good, and on the B unit they had a rapido. So I have to choose which way I'm gonna go. So the advantage is if further down the road I find a unit with some nice, very original with its nice rapidos, if I put rapidos I can use it. And if down the road, if I put micro trains, it's going to be great for today, but I won't be able to use it with my other mint ones. So I've got to figure this out pretty quick here because I'm almost done. There, that looks beautiful. I'm gonna go clean them with my toothbrush now. You know, more and more as I go on eBay and I bid for stuff, I ponder. There's a video I saw a little while back. A guy bought a property. There was an old house on it that had to be demolished, and he's like, I'll show you. I'll give you a tour of the house before it gets demolished. And what happened is this gentleman got old and got sick and passed away, so he didn't do any maintenance on the house for many years. But you look at everything that's inside the house, and it's pretty much nothing of value. You know, for example, in the cupboards there's a bunch of old dishes, and what is that worth? You know, it's not really worth a lot of money. Some for a 10-year-old fridge, a 10-year-old washer and dryer. You know, how much is that worth? An old dirty couch, and then all his clothes. Everything might be some of it might be recycled, but it doesn't have much value. So I try to ponder that as I buy stuff on eBay. How much of it is going to be good and how much of it is going to be just junk? Well, I know a lot of my locomotives are going to be valuable to some extent because they might come up with a new technology there. You know, just like DCC and sound is a lot of fun. So maybe those old engines will be obsolete and people won't want them anymore. I don't know. Put up in the comments section, what do you think is going to happen to all this model railroading stuff? Will people just be playing model railroad video games? Or will they be, will the equipment still be valuable someday? Do you think they're going to come up with a new technology that makes them more obsolete? So that's something to keep in mind when you buy stuff on eBay. I have a bunch of, let's say, HO scale, you know, Bachmann boxcars from the mid 70s. I have a bunch of these. I bought them because they were dirt cheap, but I enjoyed them, that's for sure. But how much is that going to be worth, you know, in the future? Probably not a lot. Just like the old car I drive to work, it's not worth a bunch of money. I mean, it has value. I mean, it gets me to work, but that's it. So always check them with your finger. Sweet. So let's take a look inside of this drive. Everything stays together just like the other one. There's a little hair here, but other than that, looks pretty good. Does the same thing as the other one. The little spring there has enough tension to move the motor, so that's okay. I'm gonna put some lubrication just to say that I did something. But I think this is gonna be okay. And let's just test it on the bench just to be 100% sure. Yes, I'm gonna just start just line up everything, and I'll just start the screws at this point. And that will be that. Yeah, I'm gonna tighten them pretty much all the way, and then I'll take them back when it's time to introduce my trucks. Let's test it on the bench. Nice and quiet, so that's good. I found a donor engine to give me a rear truck, so that can go back together now. Don't forget to include your contact strips. Looks great. Perfect. And then put these in. Perfect. So I'm going to tighten my 2 screws. Don't have to be very tight, just hand tight. And then let's test it on the bench again. Oh, and I'm going to want to test the light at the same time, just to make sure that it's working. So that just goes in the little slit here. It's worth putting the light back at this time because I have a good feeling. This engine is in pretty decent shape, so I have a good feeling about that light. That probably work better if I turned on my power pack. So my light's not working. This is the best time to worry about that while you have your unit in your hands. I have an LED here that's about the same size. I have to get rid of this printed circuit board. This LED comes with its own resistor. That's the way I order them. I will order, 12 volt LED with resistor from eBay or whichever website you like. These are not very expensive. I just have to find a way to make this to the locomotive. Here's what I did. I kept the resistor. I just bent it back, and then I tinned the wire with some solder, and I remade a little twist so it would fit in the slit, and that should work great. So check it out. Works very well. I just hope it fits under the shell. That would be neat. It's tight in there, but it's gonna work. So that's awesome. I am at that part where I can't avoid playing with the couplers. So this little guy should go just like so. He had it upside down like that, and he glued it there. So that's why he had problems with his couplers. But it goes that way. It just fits in behind the two little pins. And then this one comes in this way, and it'll stay in behind here and click. So everything's there. It's not super solid. I might actually put just a little bit of glue to hold it together, but it looks like it's gonna be micro trains. Just as easy to do that. And then on this A unit, there's absolutely nothing there, so I don't have a choice. I have to make a part, but I will do it. So I'm using a department store gift card. So I'm gonna cut the outline with my Dremel, and that will be that. Easy breezy Japanesey. So I just followed the outline, and it's gonna come in and go just behind these two posts here. That's gonna take a little bit of glue, of course, but that's all you need. And I'm gonna make a little hole, just like that. I'm gonna make a hole in the middle, and that should be good. That's my approach. Just a little, step by step, little by little. And then you might be thinking, wow, that's hard. I'll never be able to do that. Well, I guess I had a rough life because it's routine for me. But honestly, just take it step by step, and it should be pretty easy. Now, all I gotta do is paint it black, and then I will glue it down here. And that will be that. I looked at my baggie of extra couplers, and this coupler seems to line up properly. So I'm just gonna crazy glue that in place. This is what my made up coupler thingy, the coupler thingy, what it looks like. And then I'm just gonna bring in and glue this down just like so. And that also should be good. I have to do the couplers on this B unit. So I have these are the couplers that I use, micro trains. This is the part number if you want to get some for yourself. And you have to assemble them yourself, but it's not too bad. Now I test fitted these before. You need the little spacer, and the little spacer will go under. So that goes under, and then you just slip it in there over the pin. That should be not too hard. Just slips over the pin, and then these two tabs will hold it in place in your B unit. And as they say, that is that. So it's the exact same thing for the other side. So that should just slip right in there. And then the frame, there is a direction for this. The 4 fans over here, that's the back. Although you might be able to get away with putting it wrong. Well, that fit in there easy, but I need to check the coupler height now. Gotta be sure. I have to put it on the rail properly. Oh, look at that. That definitely hits the spot. Beautiful. So, I guess we're ready to run some trains. And now it's time to run some trains. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I certainly had fun making it for you. See you soon.